welcome to another edition of Spot Training, teaching you to do more anywhere. My name's Josh, I'm going to be your trainer today, and today's workout is weighted mobility. So weighted mobility is a workout that's geared towards strength training and also building a range of motion inside of this strength training. For a lot of us, we do squats and we're mostly focused on our reps and our load, hardly ever the range of motion. But when you build that range of motion, you're going to notice a lot more bounce inside of that motion, and it's going to apply to plyometrics, vertical leap, and all sorts of other things and motion patterns that you might do in every day. You'll notice more bounce in your step when you walk, or even when you run. You might even notice that you're able to touch the net. But combining strength and mobility is very important for that side of performance. For the every person, it's also really good to relieve stress on your joints. For plenty of people, they're focused on a barbell deadlift is a great example. Since it only goes mid-calf though, their hamstrings aren't as mobile as they would be when they're picking up a pen. So that mid-calf, it breaks down the muscle tissue, and the muscle tissue grows back in that shorter range of motion. So ideally we'd be able to lift as much weight from the floor at our toes as we could at our mid-calf. And that's what this is all about. That's what this kind of training is going to do. We're going to put ourselves in these high ranges of motion, and then we're going to load it up. We're still going to stay conscious of our alignment, of our joints, our mobility. For some of us, that means deloading more. For some of us, that even means getting some sort of a system. So if you do feel like you're having trouble maintaining a flat back and maintaining alignment, I urge you to grab a chair, or a suspension trainer is what I personally like. So that way you can keep up with the alignment aspects and the mobility aspects. But for those of you who are more advanced and prone to strength training, this is going to be about holding that time of tension at the bottom of every single motion in a big long stretch while holding a little bit of weight. And that's going to add steel spring to your step. Rubber band, it's nice and mobile, but it's possible it could snap, and it's not very strong. While a steel beam is very strong, but if you stretch it too much, it ends up cracking. We're trying to get that in between of the steel spring. So that way you've got plenty of bounce inside of your step, plenty of shock absorption, and you can take some of that stress off of your joints, put it into your strong muscles. Yeah, I think I've talked enough gibberish anyways. If you do have any questions, if you're not sure exactly what you're doing, or you have questions about the alignment, the workout itself, whether or not it'll benefit you, even though I promise it'll benefit you in some way, email me at joshua.james.cossidis, or you can comment below. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right to it. All right, so we're going to get started with the warm-up. This will be non-weight bearing. I mean, towel doesn't weigh a lot, right? I would recommend, if you have a resistance band or resistance ribbon, whatever you got, something that's going to pull across, you can utilize that for the warm-up. I'm going to use a towel in solidarity with minimalism. So for the warm-up, we're going to have two portions that are going to be overhead. And what I'm going to do with this towel is grab it at shoulder width or wider, and then I'm going to create tension inside of it, pulling it across, and then put it overhead. What that's going to do is it's going to extend my back out from the top. And with these warm-ups, I'm going to be extending my back out from the bottom, starting with high knees. Bring those knees nice and high. Keep that core braced. Whoo! And yeah, basically bringing these knees out in front of me is going to pull my glutes. You can see my glutes are contracted and extended, 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 while pulling through the lats and pulling through the shoulders is pulling my spine from the top, thus creating extension inside of my core. Keep that core braced. Suck in those rib cages, or the rib cage. I guess there's two rib cages, right? I don't know, probably not. And make sure you're tucking at the hips, tucking at the bottom of your abdomen, and continue to split this towel, this resistance band, in half. Nice deep breaths. This breathing opens up from the inside. We're going to continue this warm-up motion, creating the tension, except this time we're going to be doing butt kicks. I kind of like to compare them to a bull scuffing up dust. You want to kick with your knee going straight down and behind you. And make sure that toe is pointed straight down the whole time. And again, keep that core braced, drawing in the rib cage, drawing in the hips. Keep pulling that towel in half, extending through the top end of your spine with your upper body, with your lats, with your arms, and extending through the lower end of the spine, in this case from the hips rather than the glutes. My hips are contracted, my hips are extended, my quadriceps are extended each time I kick back behind me. Kind of like a butt kick, I call it the bull stammer. Oh. That's my bull right there. All right, next up, we're gonna go ahead and give those shoulders a little bit of a rest. I want you to take a lay down on the floor. You're gonna be doing a scorpion tail, face down, arms out to the sides. You're gonna kick your leg up and behind you while laying flat. Arms out to the sides. Let me see. Can you see my arms? They're here. Pick that leg straight up, bring it across, and alternate. Ooh, my obliques are tight. I did some hill sprints yesterday. They got my core going for sure. Hello, Poppy. Oh, hi, Poppy. She's just rubbing her butt on my face right now. I think she thinks I'm hers or something. Okay. Let's go and hop back up. We'll bring that towel up and overhead. And we're going to continue with those high knees out in front. And this time I'm going to add a little bit more to it with a leg extension. Hiya! Give it a nice little kick. That way I'm extending not only from my glute, but my hamstring. I got tight hamstrings, especially after those hill sprints. But nonetheless, it's all the more reason to stretch it out. Excuse me, Poppy. She loves being all in my face, especially when I'm working out. But there's no reason to stop. I'm not going to be frustrated with her. I'll just go right through it. Hiya. 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 Keep pulling that towel in half. Woo, shoulders are going. That's one way to dry off. Bull stammers. Extend that abdomen and those hips with that little thrust as you bend your knee and kick back behind you. And keep, I'm going to grab this a little tighter, pulling this towel or this resistance band in half, keeping that tension. Once again, we'll pull at the top of the spine, getting your core nice and extended from the top down. We're going to be working a lot on extension with weight bearing, and by weight bearing I mean gravity weight pulling you down. All right, we're going to hop on that floor for some scorpion tails. I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit for y'all. I want y'all to get a good visual of this. Yeah, that's better. All right, arms out to the sides. Lift the leg straight up into the air, then across. Keep your glutes tight, your core braced. You don't want to be twisting on an unbraced core, because then you're not stretching out your abdomen. You're instead impinging on joints in your spine. It's a lot less comfortable, let me tell you. Oh, this warm-up feels good though. This warm-up feels good after a nice long run or a day of hiking. You don't want to work out on stiff muscles, because then you increase your risk of injury. Oh, that feels great. All right, one more round of the warm-up and then we'll get to the fun stuff. Fun. High knees, or if you're feeling groovy like me and you want to stretch out your hamstrings, Give me a little kick at the end. Don't do it unless you can control the kick. Yeah. Don't just, okay? Nice and smooth, nice and in control. Not only will you be stretching out that hamstring, that glute, that back, especially with the reach overhead, you'll be warming up your stabilizers and your ankles and your knees by hiya, holding that pose, hiya, for just a moment. Like a martial artist or a yogi. All that good stuff. Whew, my pants are falling. I know y'all don't want to see that, right? I just want to show you the workouts. Stop peeking. All right, back to those butt kicks / bull stammers. Make sure you're keeping your knee pointed down when you kick back, not flaring out to the side. Knees pointing straight down as you kick back. Core is braced, but you're extending that abdomen and extending those hips by thrusting your glutes forward. Thrust those glutes forward every time you kick back. Oh, sorry, puppy. Keep that core braced, though. Somebody's going to catch me and say I'm doing animal cruelty. I love my baby enough to let her work out with me. She just sometimes is too close to my feet. Trip over her a little bit. Heart rate's going a little bit because my body is circulating all the way up my arms, down to my legs and my feet. As I move those around, let's get a little deeper into that core. Scorpion tails, last time. Lay nice and flat, arms out to the side. Kick one leg up, bring it across, gently touch down. You don't have to plop down. Try to keep it in control. And you don't have to touch the floor, mind you. You can just, whatever's comfortable in your range of motion. Don't put any impingement on your lower back. In order to get a further mobility, focus on your core. Focus on feeling that extension right through the side of your obliques down to your hips. I just popped doing that one. I'm going to take it nice and slow on these last few. Keep that time under tension. Try to keep those shoulders flat. Back flat. Okay, let's do one more. Oh, that feels good. All right. Should be feeling nice and toasty and ready to hold some weights. We're not really lifting them much. We're going to be holding them in extended positions. And as far as your weights, in solidarity with minimalism, I'll be using a backpack full of papers. Ideally though, well, not even ideally, it doesn't really matter, but you can obviously use a stagnant weight, like a kettlebell or a dumbbell. Perfect timing for a truck. But something that I always recommend, they have these little flood bags that you can get at Home Depot. You can fill it with sand. You can get the weighted versions, which is what I have right here. There's a 20-pound, 10-pound, medicine ball, your dog, your aloe vera plant, whatever weight, something you've got lying around. All right, so let's get started on that. All right, so this is the weighted mobility primary motions. We're going to be focusing on the deep squat. For those of you who aren't comfortable with deep squat, if your range of motion is not that of a baby taking a poop, which kind of shows you that we should be able to deep squat, but that's beside the point. Rather than using a weight, I want you to grab a chair or a stand of some kind, like a Swiffer. This is my favorite. Swiffer, give me money, because I use you for my workouts. And use that to assist you on your depth, because we are challenging the mobility. We're not just trying to get down to a low state and hold it. We are challenging the mobility first and then the strength second. Okay? Then we'll be doing a flat back, which most of us should be strong enough for, because we do spend plenty of time picking up stuff from the floor, like I do with Poppy when she knocks over my plants. And then we'll be doing an overhead mountain pose, which is just basically reaching up and over your head. So for the front squat, I'm going to bear the weight in a front rack position. This is going to challenge my mobility on the anterior of my body, the anterior strength. I'm going to get my feet hip distance apart, no wider than that. Toes are likely going to be internally rotated for most of you. There are a few compensations that we call for external rotation. Knees, on the other hand, as they bend, are going to externally rotate. You're going to push your tailbone back, brace your core, pull your shoulders back, squat deep. If you're doing it right, you'll feel a nice big stretch inside of your Achilles tendon, inside of your glutes, inside of your quads, your hips. And you're just going to hang out here for a minute, looking at your beautiful dog, if you got one. I do. Even if it's your ugly dog, look at your ugly dog. All right, next up we're going to be doing a flat back. For this one, same leg alignment, except this time we're going to get a natural straight inside of our leg, which means our knees are going to be slightly bent in a comfortable position, but mostly straight. You're going to place this weight at the top of your back, and you're going to focus on bringing your hips back and stretching out the back of your thigh, your hamstring. Keep that back flat, core braced. Make sure your butt is coming behind your heels and you're balancing on your heels. You can see my toes aren't even touching the floor. That's going to put all that stretch in my posterior side of my body as opposed to my anterior, like the squat. Maintain alignment. For me, this is real tough. My hamstrings are super tight from years and years and years of deadlifting at mid-calf as opposed to deadlifting from the toes, which very few of us weightlifters do, but it's prudent. Helps with bounce, helps with mobility, creates longevity. All right, last is going to be an extension exercise. Feet, definitely no bigger than hip distance apart. Arms are going to come straight up over the head. You're going to grab that weight, and you're just going to reach the top shelf. Tuck your glutes in under your spine, tuck your rib cage over your spine, reach those shoulders straight up. Oh, reach, 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 extend, extend, extend. I even like to get on my toes a little bit for this one. Extend out of those ankles for me. That's a tough one. Ooh, extend out of those hips. Oh, my back popped. Extend out of those shoulders. Even extend your neck and tuck your chin into your chest. Do your best not to fall over. Oh. We may extend every once in a while, when we're reaching for the top shelf to pull something down, but pushing something up is going to require extension muscles. So, especially for those people out there who are trying to get nice flat abdomen and hourglass figures, there's nothing hourglassy about a crunch down abdomen, about a spine that's just creating back rolls. Nobody ain't want no back rolls. All right, I'm on the deep squat, as most of you can see. My feet are hip distance apart. My toes are internally rotated. My knees are externally rotated. My glutes are pressing back. My core is braced. Oh, and I need to pull my shoulders back. I wasn't thinking about that one. Think about those things. Hopefully I'll become a little voice in your head that reminds you to keep proper form and technique in the deepest stretches and squats, or even the heaviest stretches, or I'm sorry, the heaviest squats, or the fastest, longest, the jumps, same as squats. Going back to that flat back, hip distance apart in the feet, knees externally rotated, my glutes are coming back, my core is braced, my weight is in my heels, and I'm a little breathless. Oh, put this towards the top of my back. Breathless, why? Well, my muscles are bearing weight, time under tension, oxygen's flowing, blood's going, which means my lungs need to take more air in. Oh, that just opened up a lot. That feels good. Keep that core tight, keep that back flat. You want to feel the stretch in your glutes and in your hamstrings, the back of your thigh, not in your lower back. Your lower back should just be upright. That's all. Overhead reach for the mountain pose. Feet hip distance apart. Extend those arms up and over your head. Tuck your shoulders. over your spine, tuck your hips under your spine, get a nice straight line going. Once you're feeling it, extend, reach, reach, reach. I need to put this bag up into that imaginary shelf up there. Keep reaching, keep reaching. Tuck your chin in, lift your head up. Ooh, I'm popping again. Still I'm popping. Like I was saying earlier in the video, I went for a good sprint uphill yesterday. This workout is to counteract that, build back the mobility that I possibly broke down from the tension that I create during my sprint. Oh, one more deep squat. Thank goodness my feet are feeling it. Feet hip distance apart, internally rotated. Knees externally rotating. Tailbone lifted and pressing back in the glutes. Core brace, shoulders back. Oh. Oh my goodness. This is killing my feet in a good way. As I've expressed to y'all, more than likely, same alignment inside of the feet. Weight's going in the heels, course brace, bring your glutes back. Put the weight in your hips, at the glutes, and the hamstrings. Almost done. Sweating hard, breathing heavy. Woo! I'm gonna drop it this time because I want to get that mobility on this one. Ah, my hamstrings need it. Is my back flat? There we go, that's much flatter. Shoulders back, Josh. This one's really good for building up that bounce, because once you retract your glutes and stretch out your hamstrings and pull your arms back, and you can really draw that slingshot back into a whoop. Nice big extension, aka a vertical leap. For all my ballers and wide receivers out there, don't discredit your mobility, and especially don't discredit it under tension. It's important. Build that strength under tension. Mountain pose, I have my bag, I'm reaching overhead with my shoulders, I'm drawing in my rib cage over my core, I'm clenching my glutes underneath my core, I'm internally rotating my feet and externally rotating my knees as I extend through the feet. Oh my gosh! Oh, my toes are popping, that's good. And then remember, popping is just a decompression. I counted about 150 beats within, or I'm sorry, 15 beats within 6 seconds. So if I multiply that by 10, doesn't mean you don't have to lose weight. Doesn't mean you don't have to challenge your body. Stretching can both be a challenge in mobility, a challenge in workout. If you do it right, teaching you to do more. Spot training. Let's go to conditioning. Yeah. Wonder bro, man. All right, so the conditioning portion of this workout is going to be a little bit less full body, a lot more upper body. I'm certainly not looking forward to this. I don't know if I'll make the full minute on each of these sets, but I'm going to try. And it's also going to be a lot of floor work. So let me grab my little camera right here. Hi. And then I'm just going to place it right down here because for the remainder of the workout I'll be working on the floor. So there's no reason for y'all to see all that other stuff up there. And yeah, I'm going to start off with alligator pose. Like I said, this is highly shoulder intensive portion. The alligator pose is going to be kind of like a push-up position. I'm going to go into what's called a downward facing dog. It's a pretty common pose, but still a lot of pressure on the shoulders, except I'll be pushing my head through the window of my shoulders, thus putting more pressure on my traps and inside my deltoids rather than my pecs. And then lastly, we'll be doing a yoga pose called a parasita. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start off on my toes, getting into plank position with my core brace, with my glutes tight, extending out of my legs, keeping a nice flat back. And then, yeah, the alligator pose, you're just going to bring your chest to your hands and align your hands with your chest line. And you're just gonna hover. You can see I'm trying my best not to touch the floor, but this is tough. And if you want to extend the mobility, you can always do these on top of yoga blocks. Push my hips back, which will stretch out my hamstrings, and I'm going to push my head to the window of my shoulders for a downward facing dog. Whew. This is a little bit easier, but still tough on the shoulders. Once again, I'm trying to put more pressure on the deltoid and inside of my traps rather than my chest. I can't see what's going on. 30 seconds. Hi, Poppy. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Keep that glute lifted, core braced. You can maintain alignment. Push that head through the window of your shoulders. Oh, that's killing me. All right, I'm gonna shake that out a little bit. And let's take off this jacket. I want you guys to see the details. I'm tucking my shirt too. I got my shorts Urkeled because I'm not quite made for clothes. All right, Parasita. This one's a little strange, but it's a yoga pose, and we're going to be relieving those shoulders a little bit. I'm going to give myself a little cushion for my head. I'm going to place that head in there. Then I'm going to clasp my hands behind me. Excuse me, Poppy. And then I'm going to reach as far back with those hands as possible. If you're having trouble, like me, you can always grab yourself a towel, which I will do. And you'll grab it shoulder width behind your back. Just lift it up. Oh, gosh. Oh, there's the timer. I wish you guys were here so you could call out time for me, and I'm not looking. Oh, I need a spotter. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's killer. We're going to go back to that alligator pose. Once again, push-up position. Hands shoulder width apart. Core's tight. Bring your rib cage down. Glutes are tight. Making a straight line out of your back. Then you're just going to hover above the floor. Oh my gosh, this is tough. I'm going to go ahead and drop my knees. And once again, this is a lot more about shoulder constitution if you want to put a little bit more mobility into it. Oh man. You can always grab some sort of incline for it, like so. There's a little offset, but I think y'all get the idea. And this will allow you to get a nice deep range of motion. Oh, that's a big stretch on my chest. I think I'm going to do this for the next one. That feels kind of nice. Oh, barely hovering above the floor. Oh, gosh, that's tough. All right, you guys are tough. Excuse me, Poppy. You're in my shot. Downward facing dog. You're just going to get in that push-up position. Plant your heels on the floor. Bring your butt back and push your head through the window of your shoulders. Extend your arms. Press into that floor. Squeeze your shoulder blades at the top and your traps behind your neck. Oh my goodness. Like I said, it's not the funnest one. It's certainly not as much full body, but man, is it a lot more technical and requires a lot more specialized strength. Let's keep it going. Oh, gosh. I put my phone on silent. Grab my towel, and I'll go straight for that Parasita. Once again, you'll want to plant your head on the floor, so I'm going to give myself a nice cushion. Grab my towel behind me, or if you're hypermobile, you can always grab your hands. Extend those arms out. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And again, I'm sweating, I'm breathing. Oh. Just because you're staying still doesn't mean you won't get a metabolic effect. My blood is pumping to these muscles and joints that are getting stretched out, building better energy. Oh. Ow, ow, ow. Oh. Okay. Alligator pose. I'm going to go standard and on the knees, and I'm going to go for the remaining time. I think I can bear this. Maybe not. Oh. My chest is feeling challenged. My shoulders. And like I said, this is a lot more about the joint strength on this one. Oh, for this variation. If you want to emphasize a little bit more of the mobility, you can grab some stacks of towels, laundry, a couple of yoga blocks if you have them, that'd be great. Push-up bars, all that kind of stuff really helps with this one. Oh. If you're having trouble with the downwards facing dog like I am at this moment, you can go to child's pose instead. Still keep those hands shoulder width apart and still press your head through the window of your shoulders and lift your shoulder blades up. Squeeze them together. I'm going to slide my knees back to put a little bit more pressure into my shoulders. Again, this one's a little bit more about specialized strength and mobility. Particularly if you want to get that muscle up. It helps to be mobile in your chest. If you want to get healthier on your bench press, helps to have great strong shoulder packing. Oh. Oh. If you want to get stronger in your triceps, you can work them with isometric holds. I am sweating. Whew. I'm probably sweating more than my conditioning workouts. Place your head down on this guy. This is a little bit more of a relaxed pose. Grab your towel or clasp your hands if you're feeling hypermobile. Press those arms up and behind you. Keep your core braced. Keep pressing your glutes down. You want to feel your shoulder blades lifting off the back of your rib cage. Oh. Oh. Super painful, but more relieving than the other two for sure. Oh, almost done. Whew. That was rough. And then also the last portion, the parasita, opening up that mobility in your scapula, shoulder blades, subscapularis, rhomboids, all those kinds of things. Poppy, you're in my way. She's growling at me now. All right, let's get to the next part. All right, so, Poppy, she's always wanted to fight this girl right here. All right, so we're gonna finish off with cool down on the floor. We're gonna be seated. Ain't that nice? Sitting down rather than hanging out on our hands and our feet in compromising strength training, exhausting positions. So I am going to be using a little weight here sparingly, nothing too crazy. But for this cool down portion, you should be focused on the mobility aspects more than anything. The first stretch is going to be the butterfly, basically in this position that I'm in right now with your feet together. Heels close in, chest nice and upright, core braced, knees out to the sides. And for this one, I'm going to be using more my body metric hold with an overhead knee tuck, which is just you sitting there with your knees tucked into your chest and your arms over your head. And then last is going to be a toe touch. So for this stretch, the butterfly itself, we're focusing a lot on that inside of our thigh. You're more than welcome to press into your knees, get your chest nice and upright. And if you can keep your back flat, great. But if not, if you're pressing into your knees and you start doing this, that's not ideal. I want you to take your hands behind you, press into the floor, and put your muscular recruitment in there with your head. Create the contraction by pressing down into that floor, keeping that chest nice and upright. I'm going to go ahead and take this little 10-pounder, place it on my back, get my back nice and upright, core braced, and just slightly bend forward without rounding my back. Just a little slight bend forward, nothing too crazy. And I'm going to contract by pressing my heels together. I think you can see that I'm pressing my heels together, pressing my knees down. We don't just hang out in these positions, we actually contract our muscles into it. I'm going to reach this bag overhead, locking those arms out, pulling the bag in half, getting the core braced. Then I'm going to bend my knees out in front of me. If you look at me from the side, I'm already bracing a little bit inside of my core in order to just keep myself upright. If you want to make it even harder, you can lift those feet up. You can extend those legs out. But I think I'm just going to go right here because I want to keep my back flat. Back flat, back flat, alignment, alignment, alignment. Oh. This will not only strengthen your core, but your core in an extended position. You can see right now, through my arms reaching up, I'm extending my core from my ribs. Through my legs reaching out, I'm extending my core through my hips. I wouldn't feel confident doing this fully flat on the floor, like, whoa. But I know some of you might. All right. Lastly, I'm going to use this weight to kind of build an anchoring point for a toe touch. Excuse me, bag. Want those legs at a natural straight. You don't necessarily need to lock out your knees, but engage them. Make sure that you're engaging your hamstrings, you're pointing your toes up towards you, you're keeping your back straight. I'm just going to anchor right here. Surely I could touch my toes if I wanted to, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is maintaining a strong alignment while in these high ranges of motion. Does my alignment look strong? Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, I can feel it stretching at my hips, almost like my hips are being pulled in the socket of my tailbone, which is good. Decompression. You know, a lot of us, so take that compression out and train it. Decompress it. I'm going to try it in a front rack position this time for the butterfly. Once again, feet together and in towards the hips. And don't just hang out there. Press your feet together, press your knees down, and create a contraction between your legs, almost like you're trying to squeeze something in between your feet. Brace your core, and I'm going to use this weight to kind of pull me forward. You know, let's think it's probably the most ideal of all of these motions. Side splits and all. Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm just going to keep them planted right here. You can see that I'm slightly back, nothing too crazy, but my arms, my weight, my chest are all behind my glutes and my center of gravity. So that's creating this line of tension going from my hips up to my shoulders. Really, really challenging my core in a full extension. Check out my extended plank workout on the prone series. Ow, my hips. Wow, that's really getting in my hips. Give myself a little more leverage. Oh, right up here. What is that? Is that my erectus femoris? I don't know, but not fun for sure. All right, I go straight to that straight leg down, draw that core in, use this guy as an anchor point, keeping that back flat. Once again, I could touch my toes, but that's not the goal. I could touch past my toes if you guys want to see. I'm actually surprised my hamstring mobility wasn't this good at the beginning of the summer. But you know, you can do more anywhere. Didn't require a stretch machine or anything like that. Just required a little conscientious and creativity. What do I have around me? What do I need to improve upon? Scientific process is always nice. Knowing your subject matter is always nice. I know myself pretty well. I hope you guys know yourself pretty well. And I hope this video helps you and spots you into things that you can do to improve yourself with whatever you got. Wherever you are. Doing more anywhere. Woo! Back to our last butterfly. Y'all know I already love this. I'm going to get some more light on me real quick. Especially since this is the one that I feel strongest in. Ooh, I look so much prettier. Pull those heels in, press them together, press the knees down, core braced, tailbone lifted. Oh, don't let that background What you talking about? Background. Press those feet together while pressing those knees down. You'll find that they counter each other in tension, which is going to create that mobility under tension. Oh, I think I might be able to do a full split at the end of this. I've been working on it. I know it's available to me. What I really want to get is that front split. Oh, bring that weight up overhead. Slowly collapse those knees together. Core braced, chest nice and upright. Once again, my weight and my shoulders. My San Antonio's coming on to me. My shoulders are behind, my valley I should say. My shoulders are behind my center of gravity, which is going to create tension inside of my hip flexors and inside of my core, especially in what they call the lower abdomen. It's not a real thing. But there is such a thing as lower core muscles, such as hip flexors. I like to call them the Brad Pitts, you know, because Brad Pitt always has great looking hip flexors. Oh my gosh! Keep that core braced. Oh my goodness. Legs out in front of you, natural straight, toes up, last stretch. Back nice and flat. I am feeling this stretch big time in my back, so in a good way. Like I said, it feels like my coccyx, where it inserts into my hip, is creating a lot of decompression, giving a lot of release to my sciatic nerve, which is awesome. If you have sciatic nerve damage, this is a great series of stretches right here. I'm going to go ahead and place my hand behind my back to assist me with keeping straight and aligned. Look at my big old feet. Here's what I'm talking about, moon boots. SpaceX, send me your moon boots. Oh. Extend, extend, extend through the bottom of your thighs. Keeping that core braced, chest upright, tailbone pressing into the floor. Oh man, that stretch is big. And we're done. I'm going to hold this for a moment because I need it. And I need to recognize the things that I need. You know, right now, that's the best thing you can do for yourself, especially if you're in isolation and quarantine to protect your loved ones like I am. Is realize that you're going to be your own best help, not your own favorite victim, your own favorite champion. And I'm going to champion myself by recognizing my failures, learning to grow upon them, and spotting myself for my form, my technique, and my ability to do more anywhere. Hey, that's with a flat back. Let me see around it. Wow. I'm getting there on that mobility. Soon enough, I'll be shablam, death drop. So anyhow, another great workout. I am sweating. You know, this mobility training, once again, it's a bunch of isometric holds. And I know for a lot of you out there, you know, it seems like you're doing nothing when you're standing in one place, but check your pulse. Get a heart rate monitor or count how many beats per every 6 seconds you get, multiply it by 10, but check your pulse during these workouts and you'll see that there's really an excellent metabolic effect inside these workouts. There's no reason you can't lose weight while you're stretching. I rarely see a yogi who's, you know, obese. It's something that is very available to everybody. And not only that, this kind of workout is going to get you prepared for your next workout. Because when I'm in these high range of motion states, my blood is circulating and it's creating a conveyor belt. It's bringing in new oxygen and new nutrients, and it's shipping out old nutrients. It's shipping out scar tissue breakdown. It's shipping out fluid buildup. And that's going to get me rested quicker for my next hill sprint, my next heavyweight deadlift, and it's going to prevent a likelihood of injury because my muscles won't be stiff the next time I go into it. So lose weight, get to your next workout faster, feel better. Yes, please. Recovery workouts. All right, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys again and gals so much for joining us. My name is Josh. If you do have any questions, email me at joshua.james.cossidis@gmail.com, or you can comment below on this workout and your experiences. And remember, when you're commenting, you're not just commenting to help yourself, you're commenting to help others. Somebody might read your comment and they may have the same issues, the same problems, and they won't feel so alone. It's your way to spot them and, you know, inspire them to continue their workouts. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Once again, thank you again for joining me. That's Spot Training, weighted mobility. Yes! Bye! Say goodbye, Poppy. Bye! That's Poppy's voice. All right. Hi!